first to our top story this hour. Leaders from the group of 7 nations will start their summit meeting from the 19th of May in the Japanese city of Hiroshima. Well, among the issues or headline the agenda are the countering the challenges posed by Russia and China. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and his wife Akshata Murthy arrived in Tokyo on Thursday morning. Well, according to the UK government, Sunak is set to sign a historic Hiroshima Accord with the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida ahead of the G7. This is to step up Britain's defence cooperation with Japan. Sunak will also visit a naval base and confirm new UK-Japan defence cooperation. While talking about the partnership, Rishi Sunak said the Hiroshima Accord will see us step up cooperation between our armed forces, grow our economies together, and develop our world-leading science and technology expertise. Well, as part of the accord, Britain and Japan will also announce the launch of Semiconductors Partnership. This will be in a bid to strengthen the chip supply chain in an increasingly competitive market. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni held separate talks with the Japanese Prime Minister ahead of the G7. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be reaching Hiroshima on Friday afternoon. Well, for more on this, we are joined by Mike Buckley, a senior journalist and political commentator from Sheffield, also the director of the Independent Commission on the UK-EU relations. So a warm welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So do you feel the Japan-UK Accords will deter China from aggressive moves in the Pacific then?
I don't think so. I mean, China will not pay any account of what military is sizable in European terms, of course. And indeed, we do have ability to make a difference within Europe.
Apologies. It sounds like we've actually lost Mike Buckley for now. We will try getting back to him just a bit later, but just discussing the situation that's coming up with the G7 and the leaders there, the British Prime Minister and the Japanese leader having talks in the next few days in Hiroshima, and also the Indian Prime Minister will be meeting them as well. So just trying to reconnect with Mike Buckley now, who will be telling us what he feels about the Japan-UK Accord, how it could potentially deter China. Mike, can you hear me now? Carry on with what you were saying about China's position then in the Pacific.
I can hear you, yes. I don't think that China will pay much account of what Rishi Sunak says or does. The UK is very far away from China. We do have military capability, which is sizable, certainly in European terms. And within Europe, we certainly can make a difference, for example, the help that we're providing to Ukraine. But our ability to influence what happens in the Indo-Pacific or between, say, China and Taiwan is minimal. And indeed, it's the case that the US government doesn't want the UK spending any time or energy or effort in the Indo-Pacific. The US is busy there and has a large presence there, as indeed does Japan, as does South Korea. There are forces there that will take care of whatever happens between China and Taiwan. And the US is clear that it wants the UK to concentrate on Europe, and particularly, of course, on the Russia-Ukraine war. So it seems that Rishi Sunak is freelancing to a degree. And of course, to an extent, this is because of the situation, the political situation in the UK, where we still have a government that is all but ignoring Europe and ignoring the European Union and attempting to look like a global player. But realistically, we don't have the capacity to be a global player, and particularly militarily in the Indo-Pacific. I would imagine this also has to do with the UK economy. And I think that Sunak committing to send a boat over there, a naval vessel this is, in 2025, which may or may not happen. I mean, we will probably have a different government by then in the UK. I suspect this is part of his ability, his hope to build closer economic links with Japan. And indeed, this deal on semiconductors, I think, is probably the heart of really what's going on.
And Mike, you just mentioned the UK economy there. Let's just leave politics aside for a second, because when it comes to the economic aspect of it all and the semiconductor market, will this UK-Japan partnership, will it be able to achieve what it's set out to do you think?
Well, I hope so. And certainly there has been, since the pandemic, a semiconductor shortage across the globe. And one of the concerns, of course, if China did invade Taiwan, would be that it would lead to immediately, because of the number of semiconductors that Taiwan produces, it would lead to an immediate global shortage. And particularly that would be the case, of course, if countries then put sanctions on China, as we have on Russia for invading Ukraine. So So it could have a major impact on the global economy. In one response to that is that businesses in Europe and the US and other parts of the world should start investing more in semiconductor production. But of course, Japan also produces a lot. And I think the main thing that Sunak is trying to do is get a deal with Japan that would ensure that the UK can have access to Japanese semiconductors, even in the event of a China-Taiwan conflict, which we hope, of course, doesn't transpire.
Okay, Mike Buckley, thank you so much. Senior journalist and political commentator from Sheffield, joining us today. Also director of the Independent Commission on UK-EU Relations. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.